I am DJ from GameUbaka, here to show my pickups from vendors at the 2025 Cleveland Gaming Classic. I've been resting the past couple of days, so my other videos from the event have been delayed, but I do have the short roll of video showing off the vendors and the games already on the channel. I've also finally caught up on posting my arcade videos from my trips I took in July, so I'm now breaking into my August footage, which will feature a little bit of gaming from Galloping Ghost Arcade and Pinball Pete's. Since it's October, I've started some arcade light gun / rail shooter playthroughs, and Luigi's Mansion Arcade and Jurassic Park have already been posted. Hey, in Jurassic Park you're constantly being chased by dinosaurs, so I'm counting it as a scary game. To round out the month though, there will be 2 more videos in this style, so be on the lookout for those. But of course I have other videos I filmed while at the Cleveland Gaming Classic, and those will be on the way as well. Getting into the pickups in no particular order, at the top of the stack we have the Nintendo 64 Ganbare Goemon, Legend of the Mystical Ninja. That was also released in the United States, so now this gives me a Japanese copy of the cartridge, so it's one that's been in my collection for a while. I know I rented it when it was newer, and I've dabbled in the game just a little bit, but I don't recall ever finishing it, so it's something that's on my list. The Nintendo 64 in general is something that's on my list to revisit, and you'll kind of see this reflected in my pickups here, but I anticipate I've ignored my Nintendo 64 for far too long, so I think it's about time to revisit that and actually play some of my collection that I've accumulated and just kind of re-experience the Nintendo 64 a little bit in the current day time. And then next, we have, also for Nintendo 64, we have Dark Rift, notably developed by the developer Chronos, which brought you Criticom on the PlayStation and Saturn, and then eventually on the PlayStation 1, Cardinal Sin, which was published by Sony itself. This one is a sort of sequel to Criticom, and Criticom is not a good fighting game, but I won't go as far as to make the bold internet claims that it's the worst fighting game ever. You may have seen the slander online about this game, don't buy into it. You can OTG combo projectiles. That's the mark of an excellent fighting game. If people want to trade hits with me, I'm fine with that, because I'll always win that battle. I've played a fair share of Criticom, I've played a little bit of Cardinal Sin. This is just kind of the gap in my experience in this sort of trilogy, and so it's cheap, and it was finally time to add it to my collection so I can experience the full trilogy, so that's probably something we'll get to when we revisit the Nintendo 64 as well. And these Nintendo 64 games, they come largely from one vendor. There was a vendor that was offering a buy 2 get 1 free special, so between getting stuff for myself and my wife, essentially these Nintendo 64 cartridges were free from buying other things. And the third Nintendo 64 game picked up, also a Japanese game. We have Dobutsu no Mori, which in the United States is Animal Crossing. This is more literally like Animal Forest of Animals, but we call this Animal Crossing. And the initial game was released on the Nintendo 64 in Japan, and the GameCube version is actually kind of like a deluxe version of what they set out to do for this one. And this is one I remember going to college, and the local shop that had import games always had this in the counter, and it was always described to me very poorly, so based on the way people described it, it didn't seem very interesting, but eventually I did find myself getting really into the GameCube version of the game. It was a nice thing to dig into, it was fresh and unique for the time. So this has always kind of been on my radar. I don't know what the experience is going to be for this. I'm sure all of the quality of life features aren't quite in place here, but I think it'd be interesting just to revisit this and see the beginnings of the series as it was experienced in Japan. And next up, I've been expanding my Nintendo collection a little bit, NES. I started collecting retro in the area of 1999 and 2000, and the very first thing that I started up was NES, just kind of to relive what I had as a child. And when I got my Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis, my parents sold off my NES collection, so I spent some time rebuilding what I had before getting the NES back, and then getting new games, which was very easy during the time of Funko Land and just their stocks of games that they would sell at very reasonable prices. But one that I had not yet recollected that I had as a child was, believe it or not, the original Double Dragon by Trade West. I have Double Dragon 2 and Double Dragon 3 in my collection. even though I enjoyed this one as a child, like these days, if I wanted to play the original Double Dragon, like the arcade version is more attractive to me than this NES version. Not that the NES version is bad, but I just kind of preferred the action from the arcade version compared to this one. I've been branching out a little bit too. I've gone on to say that probably my favorite home console, that's not like a console, but the Game Boy version of Double Dragon is probably my favorite from this time. I really enjoyed the Game Boy version of Double Dragon.
Just want to hurry across here. Get ready for this fight. Come on. Come on. Take a bath, idiot.
But this one is fine. I've been trying the Master System version to kind of check that one out, and a long time ago I know I had the Commodore 64 Double Dragon, which I need to revisit. My memories of that are not very great, but it's something that I do want to go back and revisit at some point, just kind of soak in how Double Dragon was ported to home systems. But yeah, I had this one in my childhood, and it's good to have it back in the collection, alongside things like Target Renegade. Women and Mr. Big. Oh my god. And on this one, we have a new and sealed game. If you've been following along, you know, I've gone off and on kicks of the 3DO gaming system, and here we have the newest commercial release 3DO game, The Adventures of Captain J. You can see the logo here by World of Games is publishing, gotten into publishing games. They're the ones that were tapped. They figured out how to actually press discs that will work on 3DO consoles. You know that limited run games ran into the issue of re-releasing the 3DO version of D, and World of Games is who stepped in and got the process down of actually pressing the discs so that way they are fully functional on all of the 3DO formats. But this one, The Adventures of Captain J, this one was developed by, what is it? It's I know it's Almond Tree Games. That's what I thought. I know it was Almond something, but Almond Tree Games. And this is, you can maybe kind of see it, very Tempest inspired. So I want to check this one out. Got it from Michael Thomason at the event, and he had a stock of these games, so getting the newest 3DO game, I couldn't pass up that chance, and we got this added to the collection for when we go back and revisit the 3DO. And next on the list, yet another sealed game. This one kind of surprised me. Charge and Blast for the Sega Dreamcast, and you can see it is wrapped. It does appear to be the factory seal. I mean, I realize that it's not impossible for someone to have found a pre-owned copy and sealed it up, but there's a weird number of sealed Dreamcast games at this specific event, so I don't know if it was a deal where somebody came across the warehouse and found a bunch of Sega Dreamcast games that were sealed up, and suddenly they're on the market again. There's one vendor in particular had 3 sealed copies of ESPN NBA Tonight, which is, if you follow the channel again, that's one of our favorites here for our basketball video gaming. Rebound? Okay. The full court shot. Did that went in? What? But this one, Charge and Blast, it was on my the top of my list of getting games for my Dreamcast collection to fill holes in the collection. I don't know if I'm ever going to get into, like, I want every single US release Dreamcast game, but want to hit a number of highlights and get stuff that was at least unique to the Dreamcast, and this is one of those games. Released late on the system, you can see it's released by a publisher, but it's called Zycat Interactive, and I think this was actually developed internally by Sega. Developed by the same team who brought you House of the Dead and Sega Bass Fishing, and this released in March of 2001, and by that point, Sega had announced it was exiting the console market, essentially like that December before. So there were a lot of games that publishers were swooping in to pick up games that wouldn't have otherwise been released. So I'm trying to remember. I think it was Edge Tech who stepped in and published some of the SNK stuff. But there were things like this, and I don't know a lot about the game other than it looks like an arcade-oriented action game, kind of like a mech running around and shooting. But this is one, like I said, it's unique to the Dreamcast and something I wanted to eventually check out. So it was on my list, and of course we're gonna crack this open so we can play it. Though we're not gonna leave it sealed. But yeah, happy to find this, even though it's sealed. Even on price charting, like the difference between CIB and new is very negligible. So we'll just get the sealed copy. I was happy to find this one to add to my collection. And getting toward the bottom of the stack here, for the PlayStation 2, we have Konami's Neo Contra. This is the only PS2 Contra game that I was missing in the collection, so I just wanted to get it at some point. This was released in 2004, and I attended the 2004 E3 conference. So games that released in 2004 kind of have like this special place for me, and even though they might not be like great games or hits that sold successfully or anything, if it released in 2004 and I remember it being at that E3, I just kind of have a soft spot for it. And this is one of those games. Konami had a pretty neat booth that year. Its big thing was Metal Gear Solid 3, and it had like a booth with a jungle display. It was releasing Silent Hill 4, and they actually sort of recreated the apartment there. There's like a little bit of a kitchen and living room area with like all sorts of weird, it kind of looked gross because it was emulating the Silent Hill 4, but it was kind of a neat effort that they made. But this one is just straight up action, just like it's a bit silly, but it just fully delivers on action. And I think this was another one that when it released, I rented it and didn't put a ton of time into it. So this is, I think at this point, I want to go through and actually finish this game and enjoy it all the way through. And on the bottom of the pile here, we have one last game for the Xbox 360. The First Templar, and this is a game, it doesn't have a ton of value to it or anything. It's kind of a weird release that got lost into the shuffle, but at least for me, I remember renting this when it came out and playing through and enjoying it quite a bit, because during this time everything was fantasy based. They were trying to find the next Elder Scrolls, a lot of the MMO stuff, World of Warcraft. Everybody was trying to emulate those types of games, and this is just kind of a straightforward hack and slash. You go through a set path and defeat enemies. There's a beginning of a level and the end of the level, and it was weird how fresh that was for the time. And like, I can't quite explain it unless you were there and know what I'm talking about, but this kind of strayed from the path by being so straightforward. And it's just one of those games, the 6 out of 10, the 7 out of 10 type of games that I greatly enjoy on this console. And looking forward to go back through this one. It shouldn't take a lot of time. There are little hidden items. If you stray from the past a little bit, there's little hidden items you can find. I don't think I found all of those because I don't have the complete achievement set for that. But this might be one to just finally dig through it one last time. And this one, you can find this one pretty cheap, so I think it's worth that much at least. So overall, another fun time that we had at the Cleveland Gaming Classic. This was our 5th straight year attending the event. It keeps growing and growing and getting better, and it's actually going to be at a new venue next time around. So we'll see how that helps them grow to offer even more and to see what the attendance is like. And hopefully everybody continues to have fun at the event and the vendors continue to come back and offer these great gaming items. But as it pertains to Game Ubaka, to round out 2025, I have 2 more events on my calendar, and these are the Detroit Retro Gaming Show, Saturday, November 8th, and then DEFCON, Saturday, November 15th. I may try to squeeze in one more arcade visit before the year is over, but that will probably happen on the fly if I have the time and resources. For whatever reason, I've recently seen steady growth in subscribers on the YouTube channel, so I do want to thank everybody for that support. I do live streaming on my Twitch channel, so I try to keep some different content that is unique to YouTube for users on this site to enjoy, and I'm glad more people are checking that out. I try my hardest to make sure there are 2 updates to YouTube per week, but as I approach the end of the year, at some point I relax for the holidays and back off actively creating new videos, but I think I might have some archived content that might be able to carry me out through the remainder of the year. Either way, thanks again for joining me on these arcade and event journeys, and you'll be seeing more from me very soon. Peace out, everybody.
check that out. Smooth.